What is up, ladies and gentlemen? But most of all, you ladies out there, thanks for clicking on another episode of Break the Silence. I am your host, Cyborg, and we got a banger for you right now. And that is because the Boston Celtics, my Boston Celtics, made a massive trade for a man they call Humble Moses, Malcolm Brogdon. I looked it up on Basketball Reference, and one of his nicknames is Humble Moses. Couldn't tell you where that comes from, but I'm going to use it. Let's start with this. I have not slept since the night of June 17th, when that basketball game ended. It was actually June 17th in the AMs when I recorded my video and I laid my head down and I was unable to rest. I've been staying up at night drawing symbols all over my walls, and I'm not sure what they mean yet, but I assume that someday I will. But tonight, as Thanos said, I can rest and watch the sun fall on a grateful universe.
I finally rest and watch the sunrise on a grateful universe.
The Boston Celtics gave up Daniel Tice, Aaron Nesmith, a 2023 first-round pick, which projects to not be a very good pick, Nick Stauskas, Malik Fitz, and Juwan Morgan for Malcolm Brogdon from the Indiana Pacers. I want to quickly take a second to please ask you to like and subscribe to the channel. We're growing fast. We're hitting all the free agency news. I've done many videos already on free agency, and we're going to hit this story. And then we also had a huge Timberwolves Utah Jazz trade that I'm going to hit right after this video ends. I'm going to change into my Jazz jersey here, and we're going to hit that trade. And I'm looking forward to it. So please subscribe so you don't miss out any of the content. But let's get into this trade a little bit. Malcolm Brogdon has 3 years left on his deal worth $67 million. And in comparison, the Portland Trail Blazers just signed Anthony Simons, the man who won the dunk contest a couple years ago when he fake kissed the rim, to a 4-year, $100 million contract. So Anthony Simons is making $25 million a year. Malcolm Brogdon making 22.3 if my math projects correctly. Malcolm Brogdon last year averaged 19.1 points and 5.9 assists. My man, Brad Stevens, does it again. All he's done is he's Jameis Winston. We're eating W's. We're eating W's in Boston. That's what Brad Stevens has done since he got here. Malcolm Brogdon adds to a team of great defenders, and he's just another piece to the Infinity Stone ring. He's another Infinity Stone to the gauntlet. Something along those lines. The Celtics lineup this year could potentially be Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Rob Williams, and Al Horford. Now, Brogdon, I kind of thought when I first heard it that he would be inserted into that starting lineup. By all reports, it is being said that Malcolm Brogdon is viewed as the sixth man on the roster, which I also don't hate because Al Horford was so great last year. Malcolm Brogdon is another one of those players that has been great, but he's so under the radar because he plays in oblivion. Much like DeJounte Murray, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they just don't play for good teams, so oftentimes we don't watch these players and we don't know a lot about them. Malcolm Brogdon, though, is an awesome basketball player. And the thing that I love most about what the Celtics did here is they didn't give up any real rotational pieces. And when I say that, when you watch the finals, none of those guys that I mentioned, Tice, Nesmith, Stauskas, Juwan Morgan, Malik Fitz, none of those guys played in the finals. Daniel Tice, God bless him, when he came on the court, I screamed every time, punched a hole in my wall right over here when Daniel Tice came on the floor. Because he was just a disaster. He can't shoot. He's not that big. He's not a good rebounder. He doesn't move well. He doesn't set great screens. I'm not entirely sure what his role was out there. And I'm not here to trash Daniel Tice because he did a lot of good stuff He did some stuff for the Celtics. The other big new move, and the reason that this is so important is that when you look around the league, all the teams that were close are going to try to get better. Except the Golden State Warriors have lost a couple rotational pieces. They lost Gary Payton Jr. So, and they haven't signed everyone yet. So it'll be interesting to see. I think Otto Porter is potentially a free agent as well. I think they did just sign Kevon Looney. But the Warriors lost a key rotational piece, so maybe they step down a notch. But when you're looking at the Milwaukee Bucks, they added Joe Ingles. And they re-signed Bobby Portis. And then you're getting Chris Middleton back. And then we have Kevin Durant potentially going somewhere, which could blow up the league. We'll see where that ends up being. But there's a lot of getting better from organizations. And you have to make sure that you're always getting better. When you stay stagnant, other teams pass you. And this is best displayed by last year in the NFL. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the Super Bowl in 20... what year would that have been? 2020? And then, no, 21. And then in 22, the Rams, 21-22 season, the Rams traded for Matthew Stafford and got better. They improved and added Odell Beckham Jr. So the Rams improved and the Buccaneers stayed the same. It was literally a breaking story that they kept all of their starters. One of the first teams ever to do that. So, and you might think, well, they won the Super Bowl last year with this roster, so let's just run it back. And that's not what works for a lot of professional sports team. Nearly none of them, unless you're talking about a truly dominant team like the Warriors with KD, Steph, and Clay. But when you're talking about a team that's not a super team, running it back doesn't work very often. So it is important to add pieces, to continue to improve and not just bank on Jason Tatum being a little better than he was this year. The other big move that the Celtics made was they added Danilo Gallinari, which I am also pumped about. Danilo is a great three-point shooter, and I'm excited to add him to the squad because he's going to step into that Daniel Tice role. So the Celtics then can play, your 9-man lineup. They can go 9 deep with quality basketball players with Brogdon, Smart, JB, Tatum, Rob, Al Horford, Grant Williams, Derek White, and Danilo Gallinari. You got 9 playable players in the finals. So Brown and Tatum can get a couple minutes rest in big games. Obviously, if the Celtics were to get back to the finals. But that's the ultimate goal. When you look at this squad, you're not building anymore to make the playoffs. You're not building anymore to win a round. You're building for, if we make the finals again, what can we do to get over that hump? And these moves today show that they're trying to get over that hump. And I am so impressed by what Brad Stevens has done in his time as general manager of the Celtics. I love Ime Udoka. I think Brad Stevens was an excellent coach. He got the most out of the players he had. But him transitioning to this role and Ime into the coaching role, I love it. I'm so excited as a Celtics fan. I'm so excited for this upcoming season. And I've talked about this in some of the other videos. I'll make my official predictions coming up for this year. But last year, I never truly believed the Celtics were good enough to win a finals. With these moves, we might have to reevaluate that. Now, we'll wait and see what happens with Kevin Durant, obviously. Now, my only concern with Brogdon is he is a little injury prone. And he's pretty much the only guy on the Celtics then that is injury prone. Rob was battling some injuries, but I don't think for his career I'd consider him injury prone. He still played through it. And once you get to the finals, a lot of guys are beat up. But Malcolm Brogdon has missed a lot of games in the last few years. And we also haven't seen Malcolm Brogdon with an overly successful squad. He played early on with the Bucks in his first few years in the league and then went to the Pacers. So Malcolm Brogdon, beautiful signing beautiful trade for the Celtics. Gave up no real assets, in my opinion. I don't think that a 2023 pick that's going to be theoretically, late 20s is going to be that valuable. So the Celtics just amped up, baby. and we're ready for the season. I'm about to switch jerseys, record this Rudy Gobert cat video. So please take a second to like and subscribe so you don't miss any more free agency content. Saburgawa.